We're making this video for two reasons. Firstly, I feel like it's kind of funny how often we're talking about goaltenders nowadays. I know I'm the guy that chooses the topics, but then again, it was interesting to me how so many goaltending-related stories have been popping up as of late. But secondly, the reason why we're making this video is because look at this gosh darn thumbnail, man. Once Jacob Markstrom put on the mask yesterday, the very first edition, I guess, of the new black and white Blasty mask, I was like, okay, we need to make a video about this. I need to work something up in Photoshop, doing something with this getup. It looks so beautiful. It's so crisp, fiery, and hot. Oh my gosh, this is one of the best looking goalie masks and jersey setups that I've seen in a very long time. But either way, today we're going over to Calgary and talking about their number one goaltender, Jacob Markstrom, and the slump he has had on the year. You know how earlier in today's show we had talked about Thatcher Demko and how he's been pretty bad this season? Well, oddly enough, Jacob Markstrom hasn't been too much better, and that's really ironic when you acknowledge just where these two were at the beginning of the year. We made a video talking about how both Marky and Demko could be legitimate Vezina candidates, and I believed it in my heart of hearts when I made that video and I said, yeah, these guys are good enough to do that. But they've both been bad this year, and it's kind of funny to me how that aligns. But either way, this season, Jacob Markstrom, at 32 years old, still on that $6 million AAV contract till the end of 2026, he's got 16 games played, and in those 16 games, he's got a 3.03 goals against and an .889 save percentage. He's 8-5-2 on the year, and the most recent game that we had seen Markstrom go out there and perform in, it was a pretty bad one by his standards. I mean, it was the Montreal game where they lost in regulation 2-1. Markstrom let in the first goal 13 seconds into the contest where Juraj Slafkovsky, okay, we already talked about Slafkovsky like just a few hours ago, so you don't need me to refresh you on that. Markstrom ended off that game with an .895 save percentage. He had 17 saves on 19 shots against. The post-game interview saw Markstrom go out there and pretty much blame everything on himself for that first goal. They asked him, what did you see on that opening goal? And he said, no, I think everybody saw what happened, and that's not a good play. Then they asked him again, what about that play was bad? And then he's like, yeah, no, I just suck at hockey right now. They asked him what he could do to get better, and he said, work harder, stop more pucks, pretty traditional goalie language, but at the same time, calling yourself out and saying, hey, I just suck at hockey right now, straight into the media's face. Firstly, I'll go out there and say props to Jacob Markstrom for doing this interview after the game and being so vulnerable with the media. But at the same time, I'm not all too surprised that Markstrom went out there and laid the smack down on himself because based off of my perspective as a Canucks fan who had watched Markstrom grow as an AHL guy to eventually becoming the star that he is today, Markstrom is very tough on himself, and when he goes through a slump, you know that he is going through a slump. He is very jittery, very antsy on the ice, just as per usual, and when he gets into that vulnerable state of mind, it can sort of carry over from game to game where he allows a stinker or two. He's almost got to get that stinker out of his system before he's able to play normally again. And I don't know, it's not like I've been watching every single Flames game, but once in a while they are on here on Sportsnet Pacific, so I'll throw them on if they're there. But Markstrom, I mean, take a look at the previous game logs worth of save percentages that he has had. .895 against Montreal, .880 against Washington, .920 against Philadelphia, so that's good. But then you have an .886 against Florida, .870 against Tampa Bay, and .828 against LA. That's a really bad one right there. He still won, though, at least. And then you have the .913 against Winnipeg. Markstrom has not put up a .900 save percentage in the majority of the games that he has played this year. And as a result, you have yourselves articles like these popping up on thewincolumn.ca talking about how Jacob Markstrom's goaltending struggles are a major cause of concern for the Flames. This was published by John McKinnon earlier today. What I wanted to do was take a look at a few stats that are brought up here. McKinnon writes about the fluctuations in net for Markstrom and how they've just been too much to handle for the team during his tenure. According to Natural Stat Trick, Markstrom has been one of the most roller coaster goalies over the last 3 years. In 2020-2021, he was the 49th ranked goaltender in terms of save percentage with those that played more than 100 minutes, and in 2021-2022, he was 9th. This season, he's currently 54th out of 70 goalies who have played over 100 minutes. There's just no consistency here. Furthermore, if you look at the chart, you can see that his GSSA ranking, which is goals saved above average, which pretty much measures how many shots you're saving on shots that are so good that they probably should have been goals. Jacob Markstrom in 2021-2022 had 26 goals that probably should have gone in that he ended up making saves on. This season, he's let in 7. Meaning that if you take a look at the quality of shots against this guy, this season he's let in more than he has saved in comparison to what he should probably be able to save. It's written about here in this piece that his GSAA has been even harder to pin down because in his first season with the Flames, he was ranked 65th, then moved to 3rd in the entire NHL last season at a whopping 26.10, and this season he currently ranks 63rd out of 70 goaltenders. It's been pretty inconsistent here. And I will leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and read the article on thewincolumn.ca. It's a really good write-up written by McKinnon over here that just kind of goes over a lot of the information. Furthermore, we had ourselves a quote made by Daryl Sutter from earlier today. This was posted on Twitter by Salim Valji. I asked Calgary Flames head coach Daryl Sutter today, point blank, about the possibility of giving goalie Jacob Markstrom some time off after his comments yesterday about how he just sucks at hockey right now. So for Jacob, is it maybe taking a little bit of time off, or is it just throwing him out and kind of allowing him to rediscover his game in those sort of game situations? Daryl Sutter replies, well, that's not for public discussion. We don't talk about that publicly very much, or we shouldn't. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. Marky had 2 full days with no ice and I think 3 full practices between games, so I would say that's the time off. You know, he works a lot. Goaltending is a specific technical position, so if you're not practicing full, then you work with the goalie coach, video-wise, detail-wise, and then game situation-wise. So you have to be able to combine all 3, and you have to be able to have the time to do it. So we just made that decision as the trip went along. That's what we're doing, and then you get him 2 days off in there. Honestly, I don't really know what to make of this comment. I mean, it is just kind of the coach's update on Jacob Markstrom, I guess, but either way, Daryl Sutter is not giving any answers to the media as to what the situation is here or any response to his goaltender. He just kind of said, yeah, no, he's had time off. We've given him days with no ice and practices in between, so that kind of constitutes his time off, doesn't it? And now, when you take a look at where Marky is going to go from here, I mean, the guy's signed on till 2026, as we said, so there's going to be a long time's worth of ups and downs and good seasons and bad seasons, I guess, if you want to say that that pattern is going to continue. But for right now, there definitely isn't any easy fix on this. Let's go over onto the Calgary Flames subreddit to end off this video and read the post made on the sub by Hatched Zeus. This is the same article that we had just looked at on thewincolumn.ca. Top comment here from Sauron of Mordor says, he needs to get his head sorted. This is purely a mental thing. We know he has the skills, both the physical ability and the hockey IQ. He's just stuck in his head right now and needs to figure it out. Zoiziu says that it seems like every game he lets in at least 1 soft goal. Usually the first. Aha, pause. That's exactly what happened in Vancouver, man. That's a throwback if I'd ever seen one. Jacob Markstrom letting in bad goals in the first 5 minutes of the game or in the first shot. That's a pattern. And look at this, just as frequently I've seen our defense leave him hanging out to dry. Tanev is an exception. That's also a Vancouver Canucks throwback too, eh? The rest of the comment goes over a few other things relating to the Flames and their offense, etc., but pretty much, Jacob Markstrom is going through it right now. I have no doubt that he'll probably find himself a way to bounce back. He is too talented not to, and I still find it very amusing how both Markey and Demko have had such bad starts to their years at the exact same time as well. They were both so good in the bubble playoffs, and they were both so good last year, but now, they're both kind of in the same spot. So, if you're a Calgary Flames fan, talk to the comments on your thoughts about Jacob Markstrom and what he has been going through the past little while here. The bad goals, the bad decisions, the bad IQ, the bad reads, the stinkers that he lets in, and the low save percentage. He's calling himself out. Are you going to do the same in the comment section below? We already made a video going over the Calgary Flames game from yesterday, so you could watch pretty much the Slafkovsky video from a few hours ago if you want to get my opinions and thoughts on that. But pretty much that video goes over mostly Sean Monahan and the Canadiens, so probably don't watch it if you're looking for some Calgary Flames analysis, but either way, thoughts in the comment section below about Jacob Markstrom, the slump so far, and everything in between. I hope you enjoyed this video, Trolls99, and bye.